Yeah, we'll get into it. We'll get into it.
I mean, the only others really that I've owned and played was Sega's. Sega Genesis and Dreamcast. But
yo, we back. Let's get into Sober Hippie's question. What manufacturer had the best first 3 consoles, Nintendo or Sony? Nintendo with NES, Super Nintendo, and the N64, or Sony with the PS1, PS2, and PS3?
Now, and see, my thing is with this, as I was saying in my stream that day, both of them have two systems that are like bona fide, like classics. Both of them, in my opinion, with PlayStation 1 and 2. And with Nintendo is NES and 64, in my opinion. I think NES and 64, and Sober Hippie disagreed. He told me NES has more classics than any other system out of the whole thing, and I'm like, no, the fuck they don't.
You mean more than like the other 5 combined?
Yes. He said Super Nintendo has more classics. Than
Super Nintendo. He said Super Nintendo.
He said Super Nintendo.
Oh. So it sounded like I thought he was talking about games. I mean, the consoles themselves. But he's talking about consoles and the games that came with them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And see, for me, like I said, both of them are 2. They both have 2, but like to me, that's great. Like I said, NES and N64, and for me, it's PlayStation 1 and 2. Like 3 and Super Nintendo is like, okay, yeah, they're good, but out of those 3, I think they were the least, in my opinion.
I don't know. It might be my nostalgia talking, but you cannot just overlook that Super Nintendo. Like,
you can't.
Because
you can't overlook
Link to the Past, Metroid,
Super Mario World. I mean, Super Nintendo.
I didn't like that
because I had
Super Nintendo when I ain't like that.
That's my favorite one out the 3. Let me say that.
Really?
So let me. I'll say this because when
it must be nostalgia then.
Well, no. When Super Nintendo was out, I owned a Genesis in my house, but my
Turtles in Time.
No, hold on. Yeah.
Donkey Kong.
But no. But my brother's best friend, he had a Super Nintendo, so we would go over there and play Super Nintendo. We would go over all the time because Super Nintendo had like so many dope games and shit like that. And that's also where I got my Killer Instinct fix and shit like that.
Killer Instinct.
Like. There were so many games for Super Nintendo that I had an NES prior to that. I was like the jump from NES, I was like, this shit's amazing. This is like the best fucking. I like playing Super Nintendo more than my Genesis at home. I played at home was like Sonic and like Altered Beast and like Mortal Kombat shit like that. But
not Altered Beast.
Yeah, that's
Altered Beast. Rise from your grave.
Come on now,
that was the shit.
But I know, right? But yeah, Super Nintendo just holds like a high regard to me. Like
really,
it does.
Yeah, boy.
It does. Yeah. It really does. And does 64.
64.
I put NES. Even though it has the classics.
No, not NES.
I gotta put. For me, it's got to be Super Nintendo.
I'm not putting Super Nintendo over NES, and that might be nostalgia probably because NES was it for me.
Like you couldn't even
that defined my '80s right there, damn near the Nintendo.
You didn't even have any like fighting games on the NES like that. You only had your 2 buttons or whatever.
Yeah,
but,
2 buttons. I mean,
you can debate all day, but Super Nintendo.
I mean, in retrospect,
you got your Street Fighter, you got your Mortal Kombat.
You have to because like when we were like any Super Nintendo.
Yeah, I get
it.
I get it.
Yeah,
so it's different.
I think it's nostalgia.
It's a different thing. So it's hard to have that conversation because depending on when you were born or when you came up, certain systems just resonated with you more.
Like to me, the Mario game on 64 was dope, but I didn't care for the Mario game on Super Nintendo. It wasn't whack. It's not a bad game. But if I had to, I like the Marios on Nintendo and the Mario on N64 are way better than the one on Super Nintendo.
I don't think it's one game on the NES better than Turtles in Time. Well, period.
That's better than Turtles in Time.
Period.
Really?
Turtles in Time.
Be so confused.
Or Donkey Kong.
Donkey Kong Country.
Really?
Come on, man. There's so many games on SNES, man. Like it's hard.
Did you own an SNES?
Super Mario
by the way?
But like a lot of my best friends that live like 2 houses.
We all share games.
Yeah, we all share games.
No, we did too.
We did too. So like, because it was like I had a Genesis and he had a Super Nintendo, so it was pretty much our systems. Like you know what I'm saying? Because we was walking, we was close. We was all, hey, come through, play the game, whatever. It was like we all had a system. You know what I'm saying? So he had I remember I used to clown him because when I had brought Mortal Kombat for Sega Genesis. On my blood shit, I was like, your Super Nintendo, y'all got that dust when y'all be hitting each other on Mortal Kombat. My shit got blood. My shit got blood.
I remember that argument though.
When I do the Sub-Zero's fatality,
the real
you
shit.
yank out the damn skull.
Right.
That damn shit he did on Super Nintendo, he freeze you. And then,
That shit was whack.
That shit was whack as hell.
That
So I
was
used to
whack.
always clown him for that shit. I'm like, man, fuck Super Nintendo. NBA Live was better on Genesis. It was just better. Like, so yeah. That's Genesis though, but I'm just saying. That's why Super Nintendo. That's why Super Nintendo was just like, eh. But when 64 came out,
my guy.
when 64 came out, I was like, oh yeah, I gotta get this. Like, I had to buy that. Like, I got that system when 64 came out. I didn't feel that way with Super Nintendo. Like, I wasn't like, oh, I gotta have this system.
You missed out.
So y'all have said nothing about PlayStation.
Yeah, I know. I was just
Yeah,
about
we
to
just-
ask.
yeah,
So
Nintendo debate so far.
Oh, PlayStation. I mean, you Final Fantasy, Metal
PlayStation
Gear,
is a little bit
like,
trickier.
Metal Gear.
Yeah.
No,
Because
man.
PlayStation came out the gate with PS1 had so many great.
Resident Evil,
exclusives.
Tomb Raider.
I'm saying.
Re-
Yeah,
So
man.
PS1 is like
Man.
boom,
Man.
and then PS2. I think I'm with you. It's PS1, PS2,
PS2, yeah.
and then PS3 can go on the way. Yeah,
Duh.
yeah.
I don't think
Yeah.
PS1 games age very well because of the whole
but-
2D, 3D thing
Yeah,
I've
true.
brought up
I mean,
before.
from a graphical standpoint,
Not
hell
even
yeah.
graphics, but control, like camera control and Tomb Raider. Like if
But-
you play that shit
But
today,
think about it.
you'd
Though,
probably be like,
that
yeah.
system has established so many legendary.
It has,
characters.
yeah.
How many like Resident Evil, Tomb Raider,
Tekken.
Metal Gear,
Soul
all these
Calibur.
all these iconic characters that were birthed from the PS1, and then got, of course, developed better as the generations went on. You can't say the PS1 didn't make a mark. There.
I wouldn't
You
say
can't-
that. No, I
And the
wouldn't say
games, and yeah, the games may have not aged well from a gameplay
Like
or
how?
graphical standpoint, but you can't just say, hey, without those games, I mean, without PS1 and those Crash Bandicoot,
Crash
come on
Bandicoot,
now,
yeah.
like I could just go on.
It's
and on.
also like riding a bike. Like after a while, you were like, "Oh yeah, I remember I used to do this, that,
Mhm.
and the other." And that's how it was when I was playing Mega Man. Like I started to remember and recall like some of those little tricks you used to do back in the day.
Mhm.
So yeah, like it of course, obviously, it's not going to hold up to what we're getting today.
Right.
That's like shit. The damn movies back in the day. The superhero movies back in the day were whack compared to today.
They were.
But they kind of established a foundation, and they just hit you in that spot.
Ken just reminded me, Mega Man X, Super Nintendo, bro. You're not playing that nowhere.
You know, I like the Mega Man 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Come on, bro.
You know, I like
legendary,
all
dog.
You know, I like all those Mega Man. Mega Man 2.
He ain't gonna get it. It's just
No,
legendary,
It
dog.
just didn't hit with him.
No Mega Man on
Look.
Super Nintendo is touching Mega Man 2.
Oh
in
my
opinion.
God.
No Mega Man on there is touching Mega Man 2.
The
The
cap on this
game,
podcast.
the game and the soundtrack. None of that is touching that.
Okay, all right.
I mean, yeah, the soundtrack's dope, but it's
That's what's it.
But
But
Mega
that
Man
brings
X-
out the game,
Mega Man
though.
X.
Mega
come on.
Man X's soundtrack is impeccable, dog.
No, not like Mega Man 2.
Come, you gotta
I like
listen
Mega
to
Man
it,
2.
man. No,
Not like Mega Man 2.
got the Hadouken in that bitch, man.
No, man. Mm-mm.
Come on,
I
man.
have never paid attention to a soundtrack in my life
Really?
Are you serious?
Really?
Depends on the game. While playing a
Well,
game,
Mega Man 2
Bruh.
shit is the shit.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't think you can ignore
Man,
it. In
you
a,
can't ignore that
in,
shit,
in a Mega
man.
Man game.
Mega Man 2 shit. That was actually the first game where I was like, I started really peeping, listening to music, like listening to music in video games. Was Mega Man 2?
Yeah.
Like Mega Man 2. Out of all the games I played before Mega or during that time, Mega Man 2 just made me be like, oh man, the music on this shit, just like it just took the game to another level for me.
Yep.
That was the first game that opened my ears to that and my eyes to that was Mega Man 2, the soundtrack.
Mega Man X for me was that. But
So the question in general is who had the better run? Because we still haven't answered that.
No, you have not.
Because
is that the question? Because
It
he
is.
said,
He said which who had a better run, the Nintendo
Okay.
or PlayStation?
So I'm gonna go PlayStation since PlayStation got me the first two systems just wheeled me in. It wasn't like that with Nintendo. I had to skip a system with Nintendo. It was Nintendo and then 64.
my thing with Nintendo is like I got the like 2 out of 3 kind of like you. But I got I don't know,
Different
man.
order, don't you?
Yeah, I'm thinking. Shit, it's so tough. I'm thinking
Yeah.
NES and Super Nintendo,
007.
or maybe Super
Perfect
Nintendo
Dark.
and N64.
Perfect Dark never gets
No,
enough
it's,
credit.
it's I owned an NES, and there were my games that I liked. But honestly, when I got my hands on a Super Nintendo, and then of course 64, I was like,
Super Off Road, man.
Come on.
goddamn Top
so
Gear,
it's,
man.
it's SNES and it's 64 easily, and then it's PS1, PS2.
PS1,
So I
PS2
gotta
for
think.
sure.
So if you say okay, PlayStation came out the gate better, but Nintendo finished stronger. So it's like,
What you mean?
as far as like with PS3 to N64, and then you think about
But
NES
64
to,
was a generation before PS.
What I'm saying is like if you look about the 3 runs, like who had the stronger run? Like if you think PS1, PS2, PS3 is the weaker of them, but then you think NES, SNES, N64.
So you're saying N64 ended stronger because N64 was like more successful.
It was it had better game. Yeah, more successful, more legendary games, and I had more fun with that system than PS3.
Which one gave you the most problems?
Oh, like technical problems?
Technical
Yeah.
NES.
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 Is that the one you have
Yo,
to blow the cartridge?
did y'all ever put cartridges in the freezer?
Hell no.
Hell yeah. Hell no.
No.
What?
No, I've never
Y'all
heard
did
of
that?
You never did that shit?
Yeah, man.
I did the
Nigga, that
alcohol
must have
and
been
I blew it.
Midwest
PlayStation. That's why I'm going with PlayStation.
I used to have to turn my PS1 upside down though to play a few
God
games.
dang.
Damn.
Upside
Upside
down.
down.
Wait a minute.
That bitch started playing.
You
This shit was
while the disc
possessed.
while it was running.
Right.
No,
Oh,
damn.
shit, that's
Yo.
crazy. And that must have
You gotta
been,
lift
that's why
it
you
up
don't
and hit the
like
button.
Sony.
Right.
I don't dislike
Right.
Sony.
that must have been before Laser Burn came about.
Shit, it might have been after.
Man.
Yeah, man. That was
What,
the
what
method.
you, what you
Damn.
picking again? Which system you think?
I mean, you already know, man.
Sony, baby.
Yeah. That's
You know
how
what
we
I'm
roll,
saying?
man.
Sony.
You already know what the
I
fuck
was
going
Sony.
on.
I don't know.
I'm going with
I
Sony,
don't
man.
fucking. You know what?
I'm going
Back
Sony.
to your PS3 thing. I meant to respond.
Yeah.
I think PS3 like they stumbled in the beginning, but they finished strong.
No. I mean,
They
I'm
did.
talking overall.
They
I'm
did.
talking about like if you look at N64. We were talking in the scheme of this question.
Mhm.
You look at N64 and you look at PS3. N64 came out the gate strong, ended strong. PS3 stumbled, but then they picked it up. So I'm just thinking about on the overall performance of that system, like as far as what they gave you and what they were able to deliver, and like the legendary classic games and whatnot. Like I said, PS3 came out the gate.
I feel like if the N64 ended as strong as you're implying, then the GameCube would have been more successful.
But the GameCube was completely different because that was their first venture into discs. So it was their first time trying to do mini disc on top of that.
Yeah.
Something that no other console was doing. So they were already out the gate with a bad plan. Mini disc and then the way that the laser burn was, the laser one, that was faulty. So they just came out and they just changed the whole trajectory. That was their first time doing some shit like that. So you can't really like say, oh, the GameCube and the N64 were like, because it was a completely dramatic leap.
But think
from one
about
to
it.
the next.
Most people are loyal to their consoles as y'all exhibit strongly, right?
Mhm.
Or their
Yeah,
company,
absolutely.
right?
Yeah,
So,
100%.
Without a doubt.
so
It is what it is, baby.
these Nintendo people who've been sticking with Nintendo from a lot of times NES to SNES to N64 hop ship to PS2 instead of the GameCube. Do you think that's because the PS2 was released in 2000 and the GameCube in 01? Or do we think there's a different reason for that?
Because the PS2 had better games than GameCube overall, and better. It was. I mean,
so you don't think it has anything to do with the 64 at all?
Nothing. No, of course not.
Okay.
You got PS2, which was killing it.
Mm-hmm.
GameCube came out and it was limited. It didn't have the better graphics. You had the little mini disc and shit like that.
The graphics were better.
No, on the GameCube.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't say they're there. I would say they were probably like
They weren't like miles apart.
They
No,
weren't
no,
miles
no.
apart. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's like they weren't like graphically. Oh my
Yeah.
god, because I own both of them. Aside from the exclusives that and then they had Resident Evil 4, of course, but they except
Resident
from
Evil 4
exclusives.
and Resident Evil 0 and
Yeah,
Okay.
aside from the exclusives,
Uh-huh.
I think PlayStation 2, did better overall as far.
Michael Rich in the chat brought the DVD player in the PS2. That was
That
a
too.
big selling
That as
point.
well,
was a
too.
huge
Yep.
Hell yeah.
That's true because I watched a lot of DVDs on my shit.
That was my first DVD player.
Yep.
PS2.
That's most of his first DVD.
So what's your
player.
answer?
So in conclusion,
So my
man.
fuck,
Yeah, what's your answer, man? Say it. Come
Man
on.
up, man.
Come
fuck
on.
it, PlayStation. God
There you
damn it.
go.
it's okay.
Damn.
It's,
That's all you
it's,
had to say.
it's not going to hurt you.
It's tough for you.
You're a
Look,
traitor, man.
No, I'm not a traitor. I'm not a traitor.
You're a traitor, man.
I
You
wave
should go
both
ahead and get
flags.
rid of that.
I wave both flags proudly.
Get rid of that
Yeah,
shirt, huh? Yeah,
I mean-
yeah.
That shirt,
I don't think they do
that
that.
damn
Yo,
switch.
I don't think you can
Look,
wave both flags proudly.
I wave both. Fuck Nintendo. Hey, fuck it. Look, I just had to think about it because like
scent tripping.
I had to think about it because look, both those companies have like I hold in high regard, and I have a lot of great memories with all those systems.
Mhm.
So it was hard for me to just say one or the other. But I had to think about it overall. I'll give the edge to PlayStation because PS2 was my shit. PS2, I think PS2 and PS1, I put more time in than SNES and 64. I'll say that.
There you
That's
go.
why your switch broke.
First of all,
She tried to commit suicide.
He doesn't love me
Look.
anymore.
look who I brought here though. I brought so
It's a nice case. Is that case new?
it is new.
Nice. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Is it waterproof?
Yeah, it is. I made sure. It is durable. It is waterproof. But he know better. We had that conversation. We had a good
You
conversation.
and your son did?
We had to sit down. As soon as I brought that bitch in the house, I mean, you see that? You see that? No. You don't touch
real.
that shit. You don't look at that shit unless I say so.
That's
He's like,
real.
okay. And he understands it. We good.
This was I'm I'm gonna go with Nintendo strictly off the Super Nintendo alone. Actually, like I'm looking at the PS3
That's how you
exclusives,
do it, Granddad.
and I'm looking at the PS3 exclusives, and none of them really like. I bought a PS3 later for like Uncharted and Infamous, but a lot of these really didn't hop out to me during that generation. I was more than happy on my 360. It's not like where I like had to get a PS4. Like when I had to get a PS4, it's just like I got some loose money. I get a PS3. I didn't own a PS2. I wish I did. If I did, I probably would have gone with that instead. But hey, it just is what it is. So, based off the history, man, and them legendary fucking games, I'm going with that Nintendo side.
All right, what's the one more question? Then we're gonna go to one. Gotta go.
That is backwards as hell.
I know, but we already in the question mode, so let's keep it going.
That's why I asked what we doing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Switch
Super
up.
hippie happy.
Yes, right.
Yeah,
so over here
yeah.
we have it.
Apparently, he been
Yeah.
pushing
Yeah,
his
it's
question
right.
for like a month now.
There it is.
People want this
He's like,
shit
no, you
for a
didn't answer it right.
This nigga been auditioning his questions to different people.
minute. Shopping it around.
Like, now, who had the worst run?
Right.
Why y'all doing that?
He gonna remix it?
that shit.
He gonna try to remix
I mean, all y'all chats and shit. Watch.
So while y'all doing that, I had a Discovery playing these old ass games. Them motherfuckers are hard as shit.
That is
Hell
true.
yeah.
And I remember B saying that, and I was like,
Nah,
That wasn't that
them shits
damn
was
hard.
Them shits was legit.
man, I said when I died playing Mega Man and had to go all the way back to the beginning,
You was pissed.
I was mad as hell. Them little Pac-Man, my son called them the Pac-Man thing. And when them things cut my ass up and I had to go back, man, I was like, what? This is some bullshit. Contra, Castlevania. I'm like, how in the
Hell,
hell?
were we getting through this?
Yes. Like,
Patience.
man,
We
that
was,
shit
we
was
was built
crazy.
tough. We was built
Man.
tough back then, baby.
Yeah, we had to be.
You had to be
man.
mentally tough
I'm
because
telling you.
you had to start back all the way over.
The
Yep.
jump.
Yes.
Yep.
And it was like, but back then, like you said, we were so focused on like beating it. It wasn't
Yeah.
like we need to go read this or we need to go check out this or look this up.
We
or
didn't
whatever.
have that though.
We didn't- yeah, I'm saying
Like,
you didn't have
unless
that.
you had something like a Game Genie. Remember them joints?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I had one.
I hated
yeah, I had
those.
one.
But I didn't want to
And a
use
Game Shark. Yep.
Again, I had them, but I didn't want to use them. I
had
want to
them.
beat
I
this
used
game.
mine.
Right.
I used mine after I beat the game, and then I went back and played it with the cheats and shit and like
Yeah.
the special shit. But like when I
Yeah, I
had
did the
game,
same
Yeah,
thing.
but
yeah.
trying to
Yeah.
beat it, yeah.
right. Because I was
Man,
like,
that shit make you tough.
Right.
Make you tough. These kids don't got it. This
That should make you a man
these
or
kids
a
don't-
woman.
right. Hey, these kids don't got it like that.
I'm
You know,
telling you.
today
that's
So
why
they got it so easy.
They got
now.
YouTube and shit.
Yeah.
What's funny though is like my kid. I do let my kid like supervise. He was playing the Switch because he was interested, and we were playing the Super Nintendo stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he actually is more into that. He was like, I want to play this. I want to play this. So he was playing what was it? Was playing Mario, and he was into it. He was like, I was teaching him how to dump it. He was like, yo, this is fun. So I'm gonna start him off there. I'm gonna start him off from the ground up. So like, I'm like, you gotta
Under
play
your supervision.
Yep.
Yeah, that was the
course.
thing that I was really taken aback by. I was like, damn, he really actually going through all these old ass games and playing them. Maybe it's Minecraft because Minecraft is an ugly ass looking game.
It is, ain't it?
But they be playing the hell out of that shit. So maybe because
Yeah, my
it looks so
godson does too.
pixelated and ugly or whatever that they're not caught up in the beauty of what games are
That shit
now.
done it like a Nintendo game.
And
I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I was asking my guys, I'm like, why are you playing this?
Jackie Chan stunt master.
You found the question?
Yeah, but I want to ask Kevin if it was Sony or Nintendo before we got to it.
Oh, Sony.
All right.
Man, that's what I'm talking
All
about,
right,
man.
man. Real niggas at this table.
4 out of 5. That's
Right.
that's a good
I know,
percentage.
Because it
man.
was like my first system was a PS1, then I had a PS2, and then my
you
sister.
started
she,
off right, baby.
Yeah, my sister.
Started off right, baby.
My sister's older than me, so I remember she had all those systems already. Cause when you're an only child, you can have
She's a
everything
real
in the
queen.
world.
She's a real queen.
She had an NES.
What does that make Tyler?
You said what?
What does that make Tyler?
Well, Tyler's, she's a queen too.
Tyler gonna fuck you up when she come back next week.
I said Tyler,
I heard that bullshit you was talking, bitch.
she's a queen too. She's a queen too.
Motherfucker voice went high as hell.
Yeah, she's a queen
Nigga turned to
too.
Mariah
She-
Carey.
she- she-
So yeah, I played.
Almost got set up.
I played.
Right?
I played a fair amount of NES, but I don't know. Like my PlayStation spent more time with.
That's right.
Word. All right, this question comes from, his name is Smitty in Discord now, Smithson. He wants to know what year had the best game releases in the past decade.
Nigga, what?
Question? Nigga, I need to pull up a
Nigga, that's an
calendar for this
unprepared
shit.
ass question.
I know. I think I put it.